It's now time to join up with Aram over Zoom to discuss more of the headlines and simple keywords. Good morning, Aram.
Good morning. Happy Friday Eve.
Happy Friday Eve. That's a good way to put Thursday into perspective. Never actually heard that term before, but yes, good morning to you, Aram.
Good morning. It's a term I'm trying to coin lately.
Okay, so Friday Eve, coined by Aram. We'll use it more and more. Hopefully, when Lena comes back, it's a phrase that catches on. Let's get started with the first keyword of the day.
Unparalleled response.
With the recent provocations from North Korea, Japan, the United States, and South Korea have combined and is showing a unified front to the provocations and hopefully to deter further action from Pyongyang. Give us the details on the statement made by the three countries.
Right. So South Korean First Vice Foreign Minister Choi Yong-dong discussed this issue with his Japanese counterpart Takeo Mori, as well as the U.S. Deputy Secretary of State Wendy Sherman in Tokyo. The three nations' deputy foreign ministers said they would ramp up their deterrence in the region and respond to any nuclear weapons test by North Korea with an unparalleled response. And Sherman urged North Korea to refrain from further provocations, calling them reckless and deeply destabilizing for the region. She also said the three countries agreed securing peace in the area is crucial in maintaining world stability and peace as well. She also stressed again that the cooperation among the three countries are, quote, ironclad, citing signs of South Korea and Japan improving their troubled ties over a number of disputes, including historical ones. North Korea has been seen stepping up its weapons programs, test firing a record number of ballistic missiles this year. It's also fired hundreds of artillery shells of its coast last week in a show of force against joint drills by South Korea and the US. And we've been seeing more of these trilateral corporations, including Japan, in terms of discussing North Korean threats. But the United States and its allies, they offered few details on what new measures they might take and what those unparalleled responses might be. This was the second in-person meeting of the three officials since President Yoon took office in May, and it kind of signals an improvement in the difficult ties between Seoul and Tokyo. A year ago, the vice ministers of the three nations declined actually to participate in a joint news conference after their talks. So they did actually hold talks, but they weren't there for all of them weren't there for the press conference. Sherman was basically making a solo media appearance at the time. And other issues discussed were Russia's nuclear threat as well, which the three officials also condemned. And they also agreed to closely watch China's maritime activity in the East and South China Seas, as well as the situation in the Taiwan Strait, which has been making a lot of headlines in terms of raising tensions between the US and China recently as well.
Okay, let's jump over to the second term.
Housing.
So the previous Moon Jae-in administration had a housing policy for young people that put the focus on rental properties. But the Yoon administration is shifting gears on that. The government announced plans to provide more subsidies and more low-interest loans for young people and young couples so that they could eventually become homeowners. Give us what kind of aid is in store for the younger people looking to buy houses and apartments?
Right. Well, basically, a revamp of the Moon administration's real estate policies were basically one of President Yoon's campaign pledges, and he's making good on those promises. Well, he's planning to anyway. There's a plan for 500,000 public houses in the capital over the next 5 years, and 68% of them will be allocated to those aged 19 to 39. They'll also be available for a fixed rate mortgage of 1.9% interest for 80% of the property price, up to an amount of 5 billion won. Now, the aim is to shift real estate policy, as you say, for young people from rental to basically sale or ownership. The government plans to supply these 500 homes in the Seoul area over 5 years, and it's part of a bigger plan to supply just under 3 million new homes across the whole country over the period as well. The government would provide various financial, administrative, and tax advantages to young people and lower income earners when they buy or rent homes. Some models of the houses that we talked about were also unveiled yesterday as well. There are also measures for young people to buy such houses with just 70 million won. Basically, I won't go into too much of the details, but basically, criteria includes living there for at least 5 years at what would be a discounted price and having the option to buy later, also at a cheaper price, basically sharing the burden of the cost of the property with the government as well.
Okay. All right, and let's jump over to the topic of the environment with our third keyword of the day.
Carbon neutrality.
So the UN administration's Carbon Neutrality Commission officially started work, promising a balance between nuclear energy, which had been kind of on the back burner during the previous administration, and renewable energy.
Yeah, so President Yoon has kind of been championing this idea of increasing nuclear energy, and this commission is going to be taking that into consideration alongside renewable energy use as well. The name of the commission is a bit of a mouthful, the Presidential Commission on Carbon Neutrality and Green Growth. It held its first meeting in central Seoul, chaired by Prime Minister Han Duck-soo. Now, this commission was actually established under the previous Moon administration. It is a private public organization that serves as basically a control center for the country's sustainability policy. The Commission announced the carbon neutrality strategy framework that includes utilizing both nuclear power and renewable energy for carbon reduction, fostering related sectors such as nuclear power, EVs and eco-friendly vehicles, and utilizing carbon utilization, and encouraging green financing in the private sector with what's being dubbed as green taxonomy, a list of eco-friendly economic activities, basically. The main focus was on technological development, and the Commission emphasized that technology should play a key role in Korea's carbon neutrality plan, as the country is highly dependent on the manufacturing sector and geographically ill-suited to renewable energy plants. Now, the Commission named 100 core technologies, including small modular reactors, high-performance solar panels, and offshore wind plants for achieving carbon neutrality, which will be subject to government support, of course. The list will be finalized this year after going through a review by the Presidential Advisory Council on Science and Technology. But this time, what's different with the Moon administration's commission is that the commission is significantly slimmed down compared to the previous one. The number of experts from the private sector was downsized from 76 to 32. There are 4 subcommittees under the commission compared to the previous 8. The government basically is saying that the changes are intended to improve the agility and efficiency of the organization. President Yoon, meanwhile, attended a luncheon with the Commission's members in the Yongsan presidential office ahead of its first meeting, and he criticized again the former administration's carbon neutrality plan as basically having no scientific ground and for being announced without getting industry's feedback or setting up a detailed roadmap.
All right. Let's jump over to the fourth keyword of the day.
Young criminals.
So in recent years, there has been an increase in serious crimes committed by juveniles. But in a lot of these cases, because the offenders were under the age of 14, they weren't prosecuted for the crimes that they committed. And it basically caused a lot of controversy, especially for the victims who couldn't get justice or who couldn't find closure in their crimes. So in response to that, the minimum age has been decreased from 14 to 13.
That's right. So this kind of been a kind of a long-standing debate. It's been a bit of a social sticking point recently with such young crimes going up. There's also been a drama surrounding this issue on Netflix as well, if you haven't, for those who haven't seen it. Currently, South Korean citizens aged below 14 cannot be sentenced to imprisonment. Instead, they're usually sent to youth correctional institutions or on community service assignments. As you mentioned, that age will be lowered by a year to 13 now. And under the soon to be revised laws, 13-year-old middle school first or second grade students, for instance, will be subject to criminal punishment if they commit a crime. Justice Minister Han Dong-un ordered the launch of a study on the readjustment of the minimum age of criminal liability back in June, in line with an earlier campaign pledge by President Yoon to lower the criminal age limit by 2 years, actually, to 12. So they're kind of basically meeting in the middle. Yoon issued the pledge amid growing calls for stern measures to deal with the ever increasing serious youth crimes. But the government will consider prohibiting criminal inquiry for crimes committed at the age of 13 in order to minimize possible disadvantages in, say, education and employment for those concerned. The government will also take additional measures to reduce recidivism among juvenile offenders by thoroughly separating them from adult offenders in prison, strengthening their correctional and educational programs, as well as increasing support for employment after release from prison. So basically, if they put these young juveniles in prison with adult offenders, there might be concerns that they might be badly influenced as well. So they are taking extra measures as well to make sure that there aren't any repeats of young criminal activities.
All right, and Adam, give us the final keyword of the day.
Vaccines.
So Korea is receiving reservations for booster shots from today for adults between 18 to 59 to respond to the recent concerns of a resurgence of the COVID-19 virus as we head into the winter cold season.
That's right. So we've been hearing a lot of talk about twindemic and concerns surrounding that, as well as a lot of Omicron subvariants that have been emerging as well. And adults who have either completed a full round of vaccinations or tested positive for COVID-19 more than 4 months ago are eligible to receive these booster shots. People could choose between 3 types of mRNA vaccines: the Moderna and Pfizer bivalent vaccines against the BA.1 Omicron variant, Pfizer's vaccine against the BA.4 and BA.5 variants, or a protein subunit vaccine like Novavax. The government said it will encourage more adults over 18 to get vaccine booster shots amid concerns of this twindemic, as well as the seasonal flu this winter as well. The government also urged the public to remain vigilant against the virus and to maintain personal hygiene, saying the number of people reported for not wearing masks inside subway trains recently doubled from earlier this year. There are growing concerns of another wave of infections, and we can see that with the numbers. The new COVID-19 cases in the country stayed above 40,000 for the second straight day yesterday, fanning those concerns. And also, the latest so-called R number, which is a way of rating coronavirus or any disease's ability to spread, rose to 1.09. Now, if the R value is higher than 1, it means the number of cases is increasing as well. So we'll have to keep an eye on that figure as well.
How do you plan on protecting yourself for the flu season and this possible twindemic? Are you planning to get the booster shot as well?
I might look into it. I'm afraid of needles, so I need to be wary of that. Luckily, I haven't got COVID-19 yet, so I think I'm well immune to it. But touch wood, I don't speak or attempt fate by saying that. But yeah, I might consider it. I'm quite immune to the flu as well. I think I'm one of the lucky ones in that respect. But of course, you can never be too safe. So I'll have to see what my options are.
Did you have a bad reaction to the vaccines before?
I didn't. I had 2 shots of the vaccine. I didn't really have any reactions to it. I didn't really feel any difference. Whether that was just me or whether there was something wrong with the vaccine, I don't know.
Well, I guess we might need to take your blood or plasma or something and develop shots from you, Adam.
I was one of the lucky ones. I was a bit fortunate, but again, I don't want to tempt fate or be arrogant in saying that, because you never know what might happen, especially with these subvariants emerging as well. So I'll have to keep safe and see what options are available.
Okay, Adam, thank you so much. And listeners, if you do want to get the booster shots, like Adam just told us, they are available for you to go make reservations for. Adam, thank you so much for your time this morning.
You're very welcome. See you tomorrow.
Okay.
If you're listening to our program using the podcast service, just a reminder that we do go live Monday through Friday, 7 a.m. Korea Standard Time. So tune in and help us make the show more informative by giving us your input. See you bright and early on Good Morning Seoul.